Now, in our school, we are not teaching how to write. We're not teaching biology, chemistry, sciences. We are focusing that the child should focus on a problem. So it's a problem-focused school with AI and internet first as technology. We're not focusing on books in general because ChatGPT and other AIs have already got all the books in the planet already inside them. So we are focusing on, as I explained to you before, that, the Wala concept. We have 250 million people, but the lights are still broken, the roads are still broken. We have 8 billion people in the world. We don't have one person who would say, I am here who will solve the Palestine-Israel problem. I am here. Not one out of 8 billion is there to say that in openly, this is my life's mission.
Is that everything is kind of thinking outside of the box. Like the whole school is thinking outside of the box. You can do all of that through the social media and through engaging with people. And so when I see this in action here, like a physical building and a physical place to do that, I find it very, very inspirational to see what you're doing. You're equipping the students with the tools to find that information instead of sitting them through books and classes in a traditional curriculum, right? So you're showing them how to find, you're helping to guide them to decide what information do they want to find and possibly to become UN dignitaries, diplomats, whatever that might be in that area. So this is how I see that you're using it and the benefit of it and how in some ways that is, it's very progressive, very different from traditional schools.
Inga, thank you so much for visiting our school. I know you recorded many, many videos about it. I wanted to have a talk about it. What do you see people can learn, the world can learn from this school?
Well, again, thank you for having me here and showing me all of these different pieces of, you fulfilling your mission, not only starting online, but now coming physically into physical spaces from your school and now this social incubator. So as I look at this and kind of the common pattern as well between the school and this social incubator is that it's very, very inspirational. It's very inviting, first of all, for students to come, for people to come here to this space at the social incubator. It's very welcoming. It's in a great area. It's very inviting and inspiring as you go through and see the different kind of success stories, people who we can aspire to be, right? People who have done this before us, different sayings and inspirations from around the world. I think that sometimes the best way to encourage someone to do something sometimes is to first of all, show them so they see and they can see through your actions and through the work that you've done that this actually becomes successful. It's a successful way to connect with people around the world. Using social media is a way to bridge cultural barriers, to bridge societal barriers, political barriers. You can do all of that through the social media and through engaging with people. And so when I see this in action here, like a physical building and a physical place to do that, I find it very, very inspirational to see what you're doing.
So in the school, the Korangi Campus, you saw many, many small little things. What things you think the world can borrow from us?
Well, what I love is the idea that at the Korangi Campus, Rehan School, is that everything is kind of thinking outside of the box. Like the whole school is thinking outside of the box. So the school is about creating the things you wish existed, right? It steers the students and guides the students into ideas and visions and places to fulfill, like in a concrete way, to fulfill their passions. And it quantifies that by allowing them to earn income through doing this, these things. Some of the things that I thought were really, really inspirational, teachers around the U.S., we decorate our classrooms and things when we're teaching secondary school, primary school. We decorate our classrooms with different things from around the world or whatever that might be. But one of the things that I saw here that really, really struck me was the way that not only did you decorate the rooms, but you transformed the rooms. So the classroom became the United Nations, right? It was the United Nations. And even for me, who has traveled, who has been places, for me to go into that space, I actually felt like I was there. So I can only imagine the confidence that something like that gives to the students to be able to get that feeling that they are there, they are a part of it already. And so it helps to, it really helps to be able to prepare them for essentially where you're leading them, right? You're leading them into a globalized society. You're leading them into bigger connections with people from all around the world, where they should feel then eventually comfortable being in these spaces. So you've created the spaces already for them to be in, and experience that and thrive. So I personally, that was one of the things that I was the most struck by, was actually the physical space itself and how you created the space.
So you think the other schools should borrow that?
I think that other schools, to have rooms like that, maybe the teacher's classroom, the teacher still has their own idea of what they'd like to do in the room, but to have places where the students can go into those areas is extremely inspirational, I think, especially for students who maybe are, they lack the resources, or they may not ever get to go or travel to these different places. So to be able to bring it to them in that way, in a physical way, not just through ideas and reading and books, but also physically being there would be a great thing to bring to other schools.
Now, in our school, we are not teaching how to write. We're not teaching biology, chemistry, sciences. We are focusing that the child should focus on a problem. So it's a problem-focused school with AI and internet first as technology. We're not focusing on books in general, because ChatGPT and other AIs have already got all the books in the planet already inside them. So we are focusing on, as I explained to you before, that, the Wala concept. We have 250 million people, but the lights are still broken, the roads are still broken. We have 8 billion people in the world. We don't have one person who would say, I am here who will solve the Palestine-Israel problem. I am here. Not one out of 8 billion is there to say that in openly. This is my life's mission. There's a guy who's saying, I'm going to go to the Mars. There's a guy who's saying, I'm going to solve the e-commerce problem. But there's not one guy who was saying, I am going to solve the water problem. And I will build a team, and there will be other water wallas in the world who would solve the water crisis in the planet. I, or our team, will fix the energy problem. And I'm so committed, I'm going to change my name to it. And in the past, it used to be like that. There were carpenters, then there were Kumars, then there were goldsmiths, and there were ironsmiths, and all of a sudden it's gone. And we're like, do whatever. And do this, experiment that. And what do you think about this concept and the schooling?
I think that our education system is evolving, right? As in response to ChatGPT and AI. I think that we are embarking upon a whole new way of educating students. And what I've noticed in your school is that is the foundation, as you're saying, of learning for you. You know that exists, so you're embracing it. So instead of going backwards into the traditional method of learning, you're actually embracing what the future holds for education, for knowledge in every area. If it's math, science, social studies, whatever it is, you're equipping the students with the tools to find that information instead of sitting them through books and classes in a traditional curriculum, right? So you're showing them how to find the information, and then on top of it, you're helping to guide them to decide what information do they want to find based on what they're interested in. So with your example of who's going to solve the war, right? If there's a peace walla, for example, someone who is completely committed to finding peace, then they're using AI and Chat GPT to find all of the resources and all of the connections that they can through social media, through all of these online platforms, including, as I mentioned, AI, Chat GPT, to gain knowledge and information and a network about this issue. So that when you're doing that, not just as a hobby on the side, but you're doing that every day throughout your school day, and you're doing it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, you can imagine the network that each student is developing, not only online through contacts to specialize in that area, but also to be able to keep current on information that's coming through ChatGPT, through AI. And so they can, again, become that person. So your system is extremely progressive in that way. And you have looked to figure out a way to incorporate AI into education in a way that will empower the students to actually become leaders in that area, to generate income in that area, to become connected around the world in that area, to become experts in that area, and possibly to become UN dignitaries, diplomats, whatever that might be in that area. So this is how I see that you're using it, and the benefit of it, and how in some ways that is, it's very progressive, very different from traditional schools.
Okay, now be the devil's advocate. What are the flaws you found, if any, in there? Be blunt as fast as you can.
So what I was finding is that, again, you're a new school, so you're still developing the spaces. And so that's not a flaw, but that just goes to show, there's more to come, yeah. Right? There's more to come. Of course, my focus and my passion is global connections. That's very similar to what you're doing as well. And I think that where I see that there's an opportunity at your school is the how do you make the connections, right? So and when I say how, I mean, again, the process or the soft skills that are needed to make the connections to continue to empower the student as a Pakistani student, to continue to bring the Pakistani culture and way into the global discussion that they're having, to understand Pakistan as a country with 72 different dialects, all of this, so that they can understand their own identity in who they are and what they bring to the world. So my mission as well is to be able to preserve cultures as we're looking at globalization. We're looking at connecting globally. We're looking at getting information from AI and ChatGPT. We have to be mindful of the bias that exists on the information that we're getting from ChatGPT or AI. We have to be cognizant of, whose perspective is that where we're getting it. So there's a part that I see that there still is an opportunity to grow through developing their identity as Pakistanis, also the critical thinking to be able to ask about the information that they're getting, right? To ask about the source, where did it come from? But again, as I said, this is new for all of us. AI is new, ChatGPT is new, and I think that what you're doing is already setting you on the right path and setting these students on the right path to be educated for the future.
How about giving everybody a laptop and a smartphone? Does that worry you?
Does it worry me? Not at all. I think that is actually something that I'm seeing as I looked at a bunch. I did I was really fortunate to be able to tour different schools here during my time in Pakistan. And allowing every student to have access to technology, Wi-Fi, their own laptop, their own smartphone, opens up their possibility. It's not, the information that's on there generally is not filtered. It's generally information then that they can ask questions, they can find out more information, instead of limiting it to only in the school day, or, you know, not having the financial capacity to buy it or something like that. The having a laptop and having and or a smartphone connects them with the world, which is what they need, which is, I feel, is what we need, not they need, what we need. We need our students, we need our youth to be connected. We need our youth to be collaborative. We need our youth to be able to understand each other and not fight each other just because your view is different from mine, right? We need to foster that in these students. So as they're becoming global and as they're becoming more connected online through laptops, through social media, the underlying goal is to be able to create communication, create collaboration, to create a peaceful world.
What if there was a room called Connection Room? How would you imagine being a teacher in that room, and how would you want that room to look like?
I was just going to say I would teach in that room.
So what would it look like? What would you want on the wall? Like the students?
Well, I love the globe. I love the globe. I love the world. I'm inspired by the earth. I'm inspired by the look of the globe. I'm inspired by the colors of the earth. I'm inspired because once you see that, you see we're all on the same planet, right? So when we're connecting, we're all starting there. We're seeing the same thing just from a different angle, right? We're seeing the same sun every day, but when it's setting over here, it's rising in DC, but it's the same sun. So even though we're seeing it at different times and we're seeing it from different sides of the earth, we're seeing the same thing. And just because it's rising on my side and it's setting on your side doesn't mean that you're right or I'm wrong, right? It's
just other side.
It's just another perspective, another awareness. So if there was a connecting classroom, these are the kinds of things that I would see. I would see a lot of globes. I would see a lot of world so that the students can look and see where physically are these places in the world. I would also make it extremely diverse. So if there were pictures on the wall, if there were things, it would be extremely diverse. It would be showing different lifestyles, showing children, showing adults, showing parents, showing schools, showing whatever it is, from all different walks of life. Maybe you have a whole wall of just children's faces who are 10 years old, right? Or who are 14 years old, but everyone is from a different culture, a different country. Maybe it has their name, a little blurb about them, right? And then when they see, wow, they're all smiling the same, they're all excited to be in school, they're all learning. And as the student in the Rehan School, they're seeing that and their picture can be on the wall as well, right? That they're a part of a global space. That's the main idea, in my opinion, about having a space that's all about connecting. You know, there can also be a whole wall that's just Pakistani culture, and it's showing how do I connect in Pakistani culture? Am I Sindhi? Am I Punjabi? Am I, what language, what dialect do I speak? Where does my family come from? And having first even that kind of a wall in there. But it's that room would all be about diversity and that we're unified by this globe. We're all on this earth together, and this is the beauty of this earth. This room as well would be a beautiful room. There would be trees, there would be things that are growing because the connection is beauty. The connection creates beauty. Well,
how do we connect more people? Because the students require, how would you inspire your own children, your two children, to connect to 500 people not from America?
This is what my focus is trying to figure out, how do we connect people?
Are you still figuring it out like me?
I am still figuring it out. This is what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, one of the biggest ways, but it's not possible for most people, one of the biggest ways is travel. That is number one. However, the resources are not there for so many people.
I'm looking for number 2 also.
Okay, right. So that's number one is travel, even within your country, even within Pakistan, even within the United States, is to travel and see, even to go next door to your neighbor's house and see what are they cooking and see how they make their biryani different than I do, right? So it starts with travel, experiential learning. From there, if you don't have that ability or that capacity to be able to do that, that's when you start, we're pulling in what you're doing, where we're looking online and we're connecting virtually with people. The question is, again, there's so many differences in the world, so people look at that at different ways. So different countries may be more receptive, or I won't even say countries, because countries is an idea. Different people in different areas around the world as an individual, some people might be interested in connecting, and other people are not interested for the same reason, because some people want to have this kind of a global connection and other people might be afraid of it, or might, be looking at their prejudice or their stereotype and saying, oh my gosh, no, I can't be with that person. In my own experience, as an example, here in Pakistan, there was somebody, we were going to be taking a picture together, but he didn't want a picture with me because I was a Western woman, and it might influence how people look at him, right? And so that's perfectly fine. I respect that in him. I didn't get upset about it. I didn't get angry about it. That's his culture. That's what his personal choice was, and he's allowed to do that, right? Just as I was allowed to ask him if I can take a picture with him, right? So it's about respecting our own ideas. If people don't want to connect around the world, they're not going to connect yet, right? We need to be the change makers. We need to be the one who just one by one, we're making one friend. And the other thing I notice is that when you're connecting, make a good friend. Don't just look at it as number game, right? So in my own experience in Pakistan, I've been very, very lucky. I have, 5,000 followers from Pakistan. And I am very good friends with, let's say, 20 of them. 20 of them I know very well. I've been in their homes. I've stayed at their houses. I consider them family. But the rest, they're just, we make a connection, but it's not really a deep connection. I'm learning the culture through the deep connections. And those are the people who also really want to connect. So part of what you're doing by reaching out to so many people and making friends is not just having 5,000 followers on Facebook. It's about which ones really you connect with, right?
So it's like a school campus. You have 1,000 people. You're not friends with everyone, but they're your schoolmates.
Right.
And then 5 of them are your friends.
Right.
You invite them to your home or you go to their home. You're not supposed to be friends with 1,000 people.
Right.
And in my connection, when I said, the 500 friends for your children is the same, that they're not going to become friends with them. They're going to just be the schoolmate. Mm-hmm. And then you actually make a further connection and a more further connection in that. Mm-hmm. But if you don't go to 500 people, then you don't really know who to really be friends with, who are like you.
Right. You have to cast the net. It's like you're fishing, right? So you have to cast the net and you get 1,000 fish, but there's only one that is, or the oysters, right? There's only one that has the pearl. So you do have to keep trying. It's not about not trying, but it's, it's also recognizing and understanding that it's the quality and it's the work that you put in once you connect, right? To develop the friendship and to foster that relationship. So it's important and it's working. It works. It works. I will tell you, and I know I'm talking a lot, but I will tell you that through my work in Pakistan, right, I had never been to Pakistan before. 7 years ago, I really didn't have anything to do with Pakistan at all. And because of my interest, my involvement, my research, my teaching, everything that I've been doing in Pakistan, and the Facebook followers, now my friend circle in the United States, even if they've never been to Pakistan, they're very curious about what I'm doing here. They're seeing the people of Pakistan. They're seeing my videos. They're seeing the things that we're putting online, and they're sending me real time, wow, congratulations, and all of this, and you're doing this, and how beautiful, and they're getting an exposure just because I am creating the things I wish existed. I'm getting on the plane. I'm coming over here. Today's Thanksgiving Day. I'm here with you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. My family is all together in the U.S. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. But this mission and this time was really, really important for me to be here. So I'm creating the things I wish existed. I'm trying to create that peace and those connections.
Thank you so much, Inge, for being in Pakistan, for being our ambassador, for being the white Pakistani, one of the few ones who are actually talking on the camera and inviting everybody over to Pakistan and showing through your social media the other side of Pakistan, and dressing every day fantastically so that you can see we have amazing colors. Every day you can actually look like a new supermodel every time, right? Thank you for being yourself. Everybody, thank you so much. We are all invited to come and visit our Rehan School Korangi Campus. It's a one-of-a-kind school on the planet. You will not find it. We will make sure that you will not find any school like this on the planet. And it's a role model for you to come and take part of it. When you go to a beautiful mountain, you go to the scenery, you don't take the mountain with you, but you take part of it. You learn something from that scene and you observe it. And this, which I'm creating, is out of 85 countries I have visited and I have seen, and I'm just putting in whatever I feel should be there and creating the world I wish existed. Thank you so much, Inge, again. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.